display management. Identify the first author, the role of course, to present this paper, virtual design and construction, aligning lean in lean practice.
Okay. Good morning. So this is a fairly practical paper. Working as a contractor, I see that kind of my angle into the IGLC community to give that case studies and a little bit more of what we do on the technical side. So I wrote this with Ben Ballard and Martin Fisher, trying to look at how we can align BIM and lean in practice. And as many of you know, we've started pursuing the terminology VDC for a framework to do that in practice. Research methods and questions. We're trying to look on a project level on certain benefits from successful implementation of lean and BIM and how they bring synergies. And also trying to look at drivers and barriers for and against the change we're trying to make. This was mostly written on observations by me as the lead author, and also some surveys and different metrics I already collect as part of my job as a regional manager of lean in Oslo. So this is mostly focused on the Oslo area in Skanska, Norway, but a lot of it is transferable to the rest of the Skanska Corporation. I'm not going to go in depth into theory slides because I only have 10 minutes. You can probably read more of this on your own. But what we looked at was a little bit conceptual theory about lean and BIM. We moved on into looking at what has been said about lean and BIM together. So Raphael and others have gone in depth with this. And then we looked at VDC, which I would claim is a fairly good terminology for lean and BIM synergies. And you can read more about that in the paper. But what we do in the practical setting, our more day-to-day definition of VDC is that it's a framework for designing, planning, and executing construction projects using modern practices, modern methods and tools. Many will claim that putting post-its on a wall is not very modern in 2017, but the principles and the thinking behind it certainly is, still is. So we align last planner, ICE, and BIM, and use metrics and make sure we reach the project and client objectives through those methods. And there's a lot of things that can be said behind each of these boxes, and certainly a lot of things going on between them, synergies. That's what I'm interested in. So if you're interested in location-based scheduling or something like that, I would say that belongs within the last planner box. The best way of illustrating it in practice what we do, I think the ICE sessions is probably the best visible way of seeing lean and BIM synergies. This is a typical ICE session. We bring the stakeholders together for the project. This is a design-focused meeting. So it's a design meeting, you'd say. Clients, architects, engineers, people from the contractor. ICE sessions are not regular meetings. When people come to meetings, they think we're going to sit there, drink coffee, and discuss all the things we should have been doing. ICE sessions are active problem-solving sessions. We start with the plan. Actually, we start with safety. We always start with safety. But the first action item is the plan. So this is how we use last planner for a design team. This is a design schedule. So you see, it's not location-based. It doesn't have long strips of work and entire duration. These are just the delivery points of everything the design team does. So it's decisions, drawings, meetings, lists, BIM controls, everything that is a pre-construction activity, we try to get up on that map because we feel like those things need to be seen in relation to each other to really find the opportunities for improvement and waste removal. So the first thing we do, we go through the plan from our last meeting, which is usually a week or two before, and we measure PPC, find the root causes, and have a conversation about it. Then we do look ahead scheduling afterwards to make sure we have control in the future. Broken promises has to be remade and adjustments have to be remade to the plan. Metrics is important to the sessions, to the teams to make sure we're on track. If the lights are green, yellow, or red, should we adjust something or are we okay? Then we go into the actual ICE session, and that agenda you see there is very specific, all the way down to what items are we going to solve, how do we measure if we're on target, what are the deliveries from these sessions. We of course use BIM. We use them on these touchscreens, very practical and communication in a whole different way. It looks a little bit weird with the handwriting. It looks almost like a kindergarten exercise, and the sketches don't look good afterwards. But the design team says that it's sufficient. You only need to discuss some principles and agree on who's going to coordinate what, and who's going to be on top of this, and who's going to be to the left, and who's going to be to the right, those kind of things. So people understand each other better. We solve a whole lot of issues per meeting, and I've been told that we're also getting a few metrics to indicate that we've taken problem solving and decision making down from days and weeks and months to seconds and minutes and hours. And if that's not lean, I don't know what is. So what we saw in the video is basically all these elements together. And I would say for anyone who wants to do lean and BIM together, if you're not doing ICE, that was the arena where these things truly started coming together and teams understood the principles a lot better. So what you saw here, this is from one project. And unfortunately, a lot of people, at least in the Norwegian industry, think that BDC is about design management. It's not really. We start with the production, how we're going to deliver a plan to them, a model to them, how we're going to build from it. And then the design team and the project team use the same kind of tools. Last time, eyes and BIM. We have 2 case studies, which I have to be quick about because of the 3 minutes. Untitled using BIM for design and coordination and procurement. They use last planner for production planning as well as design planning. Methods are pretty much the same, but there are a few small tweaks on how to do the sessions. This is a production team doing their production planning. Yeah, so we get all the stakeholders together. A lot of you probably know these methods already. This is the design team. Looks pretty much the same. Started doing ICE. Certainly didn't look that professional in the beginning. This was the first project doing ICE, so we didn't have any of the equipment, so we were just carrying our computer screens down to a little room where we did the same kind of process. But pretty much the same thing as you saw in the video, just a little bit of the garage solution. And we're doing some pilots. BIM kiosks, BIM 360 plan. That's Untitled was fairly an innovative project. The next project with the same team was Team Musbian, where we rigged it up with an on-site big room so that the team could work with those ICE sessions in a better environment. We had more focus on putting metrics on the wall, so we had metrics of the plan and the model, how it develops. We started pursuing the LOD system, or we call it MMI, because I think that's going to be the terminology that's going to grow. Model Maturity Index means the same thing as LOD, but it's very focused on there. We bring every location of the model through a maturity wheel, and we plan it as part of the last planner. But this has been my motivation for doing last planner design processes all along to get the model planned. Then we build straight from the model, as many of you saw on Monday. Seems like the crews better understand models than drawings once they get comfortable with it. We've always said that we build from BIM, but these are absolutely, they don't require drawings. They don't need 2D drawings, certainly not on paper. Got some good results. You can read more about it in the paper. I'm not going to go through this in the interest of time, but this was not just about the 1 or 2 perfect projects. We have an initiative for Oslo to make sure that everyone is following these methods. And I've been doing a whole lot of work with this. We have some metrics you can read more about. People who work with us are fairly happy with the methods, because we're not doing it just because we like to seem innovative. It has to create value for the people who are involved. And we have some soft metrics on that this is successful from people working as clients. So, conclusion, BDC has been very beneficial as a terminology and also as a framework, as I think Leonardo said that on Monday. SIP has developed a way of doing this in practice. Drivers for change, it's about management, it's about knowledge, following out the projects, having the proper training and support. Barriers, we never met any real barriers, but we certainly observed some potential ones, that we had lack of funding on their goals, lack of plans, and that we would do like a top-down approach instead of growing this organically from a project perspective. I think that was my last slide.